That should work. See if we can get some people on here. See if we can get some people on here. I'm just bored out in the shop. Saturday night. Out here working on some stuff. Working on I guess it'd be a customer's car. A friend of mine. All video. Okay. See if we can get this done right off the bat. What's up? Sweet. Oh, not much. Just out here trying to get this deal figured out. I'm working on Tom Gray's car right now. What's up, Russ? Hoping I get some more people on here tonight. These live feeds really help the watch hours or public watch hours or whatever it's called. I forget what it's called, but that's what we're trying to crank up right now. Can you hear my heater really bad? Does that heater sound really bad? Because I can turn it off. It ain't that cold out here anymore. I've been out here for a few hours. So, waiting for my wife. I think she's going to be bringing me some cold beers. Got 5 people on here already. Sweet. 7. Nice. Let's see some comments. Like I said, I'm just out here screwing around, working on Tom's stuff. Okay, cool. Like I said, I can turn it off if it's too obnoxious. I got YouTube playing in the background too. I'm watching one of Billy's from Street Race Channel's videos. One where he's changing the transmission and the and that black Fox body. But that's what I got cooking. I'll show you guys once I get a few more on here and people start popping the questions off. We were able to get my intake manifold, which I'm sure most of you guys seen that video. We're able to get the intake manifold up at Greg's. Greg did an awesome job. I'm sure glad that he was able to help me out on that. Like I mentioned before, it was going to take a little while to get it sent off, come up with the funds and all that stuff to send it off and have Wilson or somebody else that can do that. So it worked out good, and it turned out really nice. So I'm basically to a point where I can start fitting the front end on the Chevelle, and then I'll haul it back up there one more time. Hopefully one more time we'll be able to do all the little shit that's left to do as far as fabricating wise, and then maybe be able to light a fire in this bad boy. I am waiting on a few things like a drive shaft. That won't stop us from starting it, and maybe messing with the tune a little bit, stuff like that. But shoot, I think I could even get it on the 2-step and try to work some of that stuff out. Like I said, I'm no EFI guy, so I'm going to be learning as we go. Watching from the road, Salt Lake City. What are you guys doing in Salt Lake City? Salt Lake City. You guys are probably squirreling around out there trying to figure out how to go fast. Watching some street racing or something. But yeah, I'll show you guys Tom Gray's car. I'm sure he won't mind. Let me flip this around. Oh, it's way over here now. Nice little. I would lie to you if I knew exactly what year it is, but it's an early '60s. I don't know, '63 maybe. I don't know. You guys probably know more. I plumbed the brakes in this car a while back. Let me turn that heater off, guys. Yep, my finger's in the way. I hauled this thing up to Greg's. Oh, it's been a while ago now, and plumbed the brakes on it. So all the front brakes and stuff like that. And then now I'm working on wiring a bunch of stuff in it. This will have an ARC module, like a traction control ARC module that comes with MSD grid. kind of a dot plot kind of deal. Don't mind my mess. This panel will rubber mount inside the car, and I just got all that. I made it out of some thin stuff, trying to keep it as light as I can. I put a bead roll in it to help it give it some rigidity or whatever, but yeah. Whoa. When I switch that around, it is close. But what's everybody else doing tonight? I'm gonna probably turn off. I'm working on Tom's car a little bit here. I had to order some harnesses and stuff that we used. He's had all this stuff to wire this car for a while. I was actually gonna wire it a while back, and then he bought a new car, and I went and helped him get that car straightened out with some of the wiring. And we had to rob some of the stuff we had for this car to finish this deal up. But so I made a list of stuff and made an order tonight. Some of the stuff that needs to be ordered, and I also realized I remembered how expensive Race Pack is, and I haven't put it on paper yet, but the MSD grid, if you were to buy like an MSD grid with a Race Pack to do all your data logging, and then like a Davis traction control or anything like that, you're talking, it's gonna be humongous money. But I feel like if you're wanting to go fuel injected or anything like that, the direction that I'm going, the Link will do all the data logging. It'll do traction control. It'll do all the fuel injection stuff. And well, my wife's here now. Hopefully she's got some beers for me. But it'll do all the traction control stuff, like I said. And it's all one box. Really easy to wire. Also, it makes it simple. The Race Pack stuff is crazy expensive. It's really good and it's really accurate. And we've noticed with Sescar, all the Link stuff, the sensors and stuff we use on it, as far as like the drive shaft sensor, all the sensors so far have really been really good. So, and before you want to see the wife, I'll wait when she comes in here, Greg. I'll have her give you a shout out. But anyways, with Cessnova, I've never had any sort of data aside from like a grid box. You know, I use the grid to, look over a run, see what the RPM, just basically whatever the grid and the Max 5 nitrous controller that I was using, just making sure they were communicating right, doing all the stuff that basic you can do, like a hammer and a chisel pretty much and a screwdriver to turn the carburetor. But with Sescar, even when it was a nitrous program, we had Race Pack in it. And so we used Race Pack. It communicated with the grid, which was nice. So it took data, the simple data, and transferred into the grid so you could pull it up in the grid. Had drive shaft sensor, G meter, all that stuff that oh, hell yeah, bud. All the stuff that the Link will do, the Race Pack did as well, but you had to have a Race Pack box, so a data logging box. Then you had to have a grid, like I said, all the ignition stuff, and that don't even include a fueling. So then if you're gonna go fuel injected, then you would have to buy some sort of fueling system if you already had all this stuff. You know what I mean? So if you're building a car from scratch, no matter what boxes you go with, I feel like if you're starting from scratch, you might as well go with like something that does all those things that you need. What's Greg doing? You didn't answer the phone earlier, dude. I was trying to get a hold of you. It was like it was a really important deal. Hold on. I had to get my energy on. Monster, baby. Got that apartment almost diddled, huh? I was talking to Seth earlier. He was wondering when his car was gonna be done, but you better get with him. Make sure that he ain't gonna try to kill you. I know he's got a temper problem. Usually he busts out when when you're least expecting it. He might scissor kick somebody in the head. $2025. I don't care. We can finish that deal in 2025. Once you're done with it, I get to work on it. Man, it's going to take a while. I will be videoing everything when it gets closer to the time to start it and all that stuff. I'm gonna have some help. I talked to some people that are gonna come help me film and stuff like that. So basically, I'm just gonna film everything once we get closer. Once we get closer to where the car's ready to fire up, make some noise and all that stuff, and I can start doing some, because I'll be learning as we're going, but I'm going to take everybody as far as my YouTube followers and everybody along with me. If I make a mistake or anything like that, it'll be kind of a learning curve for everybody. Maybe I'll help some people that are trying to do what I'm doing with it. But yeah, I think once the car's running and all that stuff, the content will get pretty good. I feel like I'll haul it up to Greg's all the time, and we'll mess with it up there, change 4-link, do all kinds of fun stuff. That all makes for good videoing. Excuse me, that Monster drink is cold. Price Seth ain't on here. Whiskey and M1. Hell yeah. Now you're talking our kind of language. I tell you what, Greg, I know a good road. Yeah, you do. That road's pretty fun. I don't know if that's a good road. I'll take you to a good road there. That road of your guys' is cool, but it ain't a good road. It ain't a fast road. I'll take you to a fast road. Our road here, that if like anybody's wanting to race for any kind of money or anything like that, the road that we have here is fast. It's kind of, and it doesn't even make sense why it is so fast. I mean, it's just a dirty asphalt road, but it works pretty good. I feel like the fastest street pass I've ever made has been on that road. B&B, a certain old slow yellow car might need a road to test on. Just yeah, the speed shop guys, they've been putting in a lot of street testing and stuff last summer. But they're gonna be working with a whole new animal. They're trying to put Hemis and blowers and everything they got. They're trying to blow everything. That guy was literally right next to Happy Donut, dude. Like, there was cops everywhere when we were heading to when we were heading to basketball today, there was cops surrounding everything around my place. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they ever caught that guy or not. I kind of lost track of all that stuff. But back to the Brennermans, however you say their last name. Uh, Adam, Justin, Adam, all you guys. You guys are gonna be dealing with a lot more horsepower now on them small tires on the street. But yeah, that guy was on the loose out here, man. I don't know. My wife's just sitting out there in the truck. She's either getting one tied on before she comes out or what. But we'll see if she'll come on here. I doubt it. She's usually pretty grumpy. Beards, biceps, and blowers. It will be a learning curve. What's that saying? If you're not, it's not sucking, you're blowing or something? I don't remember. All kidding aside, I don't like blowers, but they're cool. I think they're cool, but they're loud. They're kind of like a Pro Charger. I like a Pro Charger. Like I like Seth's program and Chad's. And they're fun and easy to tune, I guess. Easy as in like compared to what I'm going to be dealing with this car. They're loud, man. And I don't know. I personally, a nitrous program was loud enough for me. Uh-oh. No comment section on my side of YouTube. Let me look who that was real quick that just messaged me. Jeff, you have to log into your, ask Greg how to do it. Because Greg couldn't comment either, and he had to log in somehow. You can watch it, but you gotta, I don't remember. I think you gotta log into something so you can comment. Anyways, back to the fast road. Like, I feel like everybody, Kelly Chambers, I can tell a story, and a lot of people have seen the video of Kelly racing Seth on our road here that we race on. Usually we don't race on it much anymore, but we usually try to save it for if if somebody's from out of town or whatever that want to race and maybe race for a little bit of money or whatever. And we test on it here and there. But Kelly, Pro Mod Steve, who else came up? I think it was just Kelly and Steve came up one year for graffiti, and Kelly still had his 57, and it had an aluminum small block, twin turbo small block. I think it had like 80 millimeter or 80s or 88 millimeter turbos on it, and they had a small block. And he told us, we were all sitting around eating, I think it was Friday night, we were all sitting around graffiti eating hamburgers or whatever and telling a bunch of lies, and Kelly goes, my car's got one pass left in it. It literally has one pass left in it. We're like, what the hell's this guy talking about? He's freaking crazy. And we, Friday night, we kind of had plans. Kelly and I were kind of talking back and forth, like trying to set up some street races and stuff like that while they were here. And so we came up with, Seth was going to end up racing both Steve and Kelly. And then Jason stepped up and he ended up racing Steve first. So that was the stipulation that Steve raced Jason first round off trailer, and Jason forgot to turn his nitrous on or something, or forgot, I don't know, he's making a sandwich or something, I don't remember. And Steve beat him pretty bad, but I'm pretty sure Jason didn't turn his nitrous on. And Jason, in Jason's defense, he's not really a big street racer, but he did step up and he raced Steve. And then Seth ended up racing Steve. Steve beat Seth by like a good car, maybe a car and a half, I guess. Um, but I know between when Steve raced Jason till the time that he raced Seth, which they were the Steven and Jason were first off the trailer. I bet you Steve realized how good our road is and turned it up. I bet you he went 3 to 4 tenths faster. I bet when he raced Seth. Just at the start, I mean, the car looked way gnarlier out of the hole. And so barely beat them. I mean, we were basically all in with Seth's car. It was a nitrous program. It would probably go 520s, 530s if we were lucky out there. And so then, Crazy Kelly, we're talking to him, BSing with him about some stuff, and he goes, well, if anybody knows Kelly, he's not going to unload his car, even though he's got a grenade, like literally, and he knew it. He knew he had a grenade. He knew that he was going to blow that deal up. So they came up with like $500, I think, Seth and Kelly, $500 side bet. And I was flagging. I kind of stiffed. What's up, Kevin? Heck yeah. So I kind of stiffed Kelly a little bit, not on purpose. It was just I was kind of nervous. Kelly, this was our first like big hosting, like a couple fast cars, so I was kind of nervous, And so I brought Seth in, stopped him, and then I brought Kelly in. Well, he just came right up to the line. Well, I knew it was a turbo car, and I was thinking, shit, I'm hoping I'm not stiffing him, but I'm going to turn the light on. You know what I mean? He's there. My boy's in the other lane. I'm gonna turn the light on. Well, I step back, turn the light on. Seth barely jumps, like barely. I mean, it was like a frame, but he was on it. Boom, jumps way out on Kelly, and Kelly leaves out of the hole like a tractor. I mean, his car did boom. Well, it wasn't spooled up yet. And then I don't know if he grabbed every button on his steering wheel or what happened, but that son of a bitch came to life about 200 feet and was covering some ground. I mean, and like I said, we had Seth's car wicked all the way up. It was as pissed off as we can make that 598. I mean, it was everything we could do on the street. And Kelly was coming on him hard. We're right at the finish line. He pulled a grenade clip at the starting line, and when he went through the finish line, it blew the whole front end of the car freaking 600 feet in the air. And then it split the block, oiled the road down. He almost crashed. And and he almost crashed. He was on fire. It was the middle of summer. His car was kind of on fire or whatever, and Seth came sliding to a stop and jumped out, and Kelly finally got his car under control. Hell, he wasn't even shook or nothing. He's like, oh man, he wasn't, he's wearing shorts, and all the hairs on his legs will burn off, and he's like, oh man, that was crazy. And it was just a normal Saturday for Kelly. I guess that's, a short story or a long story of like one of the first times we raced with Kelly. With Kelly's car. We raced a few of the California guys. I say we, basically Seth did. Some of the California guys down in Medford, one or two different weekends. Actually, it was 2 different weekends. We raced a few guys, but yeah, our road to get back to our road here, our local test spot or our race spot. It's a good road. We've been with Seth's car, we've been like an 83, I think, at 160 on this road out here. And man, there's a lot of cars that struggle, a lot of cars that struggle to do that on the track. But we also, with Seth's car, we'd take it from the street, try to make it work on the track, and it was kind of shit. Anyways, Seth raced. No, yes, actually, Seth did too. But Darren Pulver one time raced half mile. He raced Billy Z years ago, and for some reason there was bad communication, and they raced forever. It seemed like that was the same weekend. Seth literally was going through the finish line, and the headlights were facing the camera at the finish line. He went through the finish line completely sideways, and the other car just barely clipped Seth at the end. Just barely clipped Seth at the end, and it was like shit. But the video was bitching. I wish I could remember who had it. I think Kelly might have had it, but he's like he's kind of old. Kelly is. I'm hoping. I wish he was on here, but he's kind of old as hell, and so he don't know any sort of technology. So he'd end up sending me some potato video or something. But that video was so sick because Seth was just driving the dog shit out of it, and you hear him in there just like massaging the throttle and trying to get it to get some traction, and it was crazy. The car hooked fine at the track, but we got it out there and it had like 35 runs on the tires, and the tires were just freaking beat to death. And so we lost that night, and then I think we ran them back the next night for a little bit of money, maybe double or nothing. I don't remember exactly what it was. And it was a little bit better, but Seth almost crashed again past the finish line. But same thing, he was just whoop, whoop, on and off the switch, trying to get it to hook up. And we just, we were at the beginning stages of racing for any sort of, money and stuff. This has been quite a few years ago. Seth's car was still a nitrous deal back then. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. That's kind of, actually another story, if you guys want to hear some more stories. The very first time we met the California guys or raced with the California guys, probably one of the very first Kelly events that we went to with Seth's car. Seth was pretty much down to race anybody back then, and he still is, but so we were in the pits, and Raul from California, I forget his last name. Raul and like Tim Close and Trevor Close, and some of that group of guys, which are all friends now. We race with, and I call them friends. And anyways, they were all up here racing for Kelly's event. Nate Shaltage or whatever, with My Little Pony car or whatever, and they were all up here, and Trevor Close was walking around the pits going, because our Facebook page or our group page is called Douglas County Chip Seal Junkies. And he was walking around, I forgot what he was calling us. He was calling it like, I don't know, kind of making stabs at us a little bit, making fun of our name or something. And Raul never really raced at the track, and he was out first round. And Seth was still going rounds. So we were doing okay, back then. A low 5-second big tire car on a no prep kind of surface was doing pretty good back then. And so we were still going rounds, and Trevor's like, hey, Trevor Close is like, hey, we got a race for you guys, and he kind of kept punching, and I'm like, hey, listen, dude, we're still going rounds. Like, if we get put out, come, let's talk. Let's figure something out. And Trevor was drinking and carrying on, and like I said, he's Trevor. If anybody knows who he is, he knows you would know him. But it sounds like my wife's yelling at the kids. But so I'm talking to Trevor and trying to get something, calm him down a little bit because we're not the type of people that are like real mouthy or anything like that. We're straight to the point. Like let's figure out how we can make uh, both parties happy or whatever. So he still was running his mouth, and I didn't really like him. I didn't really like the mouth running kind of part of it. So we're like, fuck it. So Seth came around, and so I was talking to Seth, and I was like, hey, you want to go out on the street? And he's like, yeah, I'll go out on the street. He's like, well, what are they thinking, And I don't remember if it was 500 or 1,000. I think they were. Hold on, bud. I'm on the phone. Um, so I didn't know. I don't remember if it was 500 or 1,000 or whatever. And then I started talking with uh, Tim Close, which is Trevor's brother, and he's a lot more level-headed with some of that stuff, and so we were able to work out a deal. And so at that point in time, we didn't really have a spot, especially in Medford. We still don't really have a spot to go race on the street. There's a spot out past the scales. The road's really shitty. Nowadays, it's really bad. It's like rocky and stuff. So there wasn't really no good spots. Well, our buddy Dan's like, well, listen, over on G Avenue, which if anybody knows Medford, which they probably don't, but it's literally just a main road. It's like in the middle of White City. And we're like, man, I don't know. That seems pretty sketchy. So I asked Seth, that's like, I don't give a shit. He's like, it's just going to be one pass. It ain't that big of a deal. So I end up having to go. I end up not even being able to go out there. So we put a tune-up in the car um, that I felt like would go down. I figured it was probably, I don't know, it was probably a 540 pass, probably maybe. So we did that. We put that in there. And back then, we didn't have a nitrous controller. I ran the nitrous off of a timer in the grid. So all I could do is turn it on in time, time base. But it was all in. Then back then we were running like 400 or 500 shot. And so he went out there, and Kelly flagged the race, another epic kind of race. Another epic race, and somebody was filming, has a flag. I'll have to load it up. I know I still have that video. I'll have to mess with it a little bit. It's not a great video, but it's bitching because when the cars are taking off, you can see a big American flag in the background, and and it was just gangster as hell. They freaking unloaded them things and sent them right down through the middle of a town, basically. Seth got him pretty good, beat him really bad actually, and that was like the very first time we met Kelly. And I had talked with Kelly on the phone a little bit, but we had never met him. And then he was coming up to Medford for his, for one of his fundraiser races, and that's how we all kind of met and got together with everybody. And, yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I didn't even actually get to go out and watch that race. I had my wife and gosh, we had Hayden, which was my littlest one. He was just a baby, and they were in a truck. We had a hotel, so we went, and I was freaking on the. So my dad and my brother went with Seth and helped Seth. My brother poured his puddle, and Tim, Seth's father-in-law, went with him as well and helped him get the car backed up, and then some of our buddies or whatever helped. And my brother got in, turned the nitrous on for him, and did all that stuff. And Seth showed up like a boss and kicked Raul's ass. But it just basically created, racing brings people together, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool time. And I remember I couldn't even freaking hardly drive home. I was so excited. Seth messaged me and said, we got the win, kind of deal, or I beat him bad or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, and I was jacked. I was like, hell yeah. And, Saturday Night Street Racing Stories, there's your winter time YouTube live chat format. Heck yeah. I mean, I feel like once my Chevelle's done, we'll have more stories. Uh, those are like the big ones. And then obviously we got the race on the show on Street Outlaws, Memphis, and all that stuff. That was pretty fun. The half mile race we won too. Yeah, that's what Greg was talking about earlier, Shane, is that freaking half mile race. Darren was letting he was trying to let the freaking rods out of that 406 he had. Um, that was crazy. I wish those videos were better where I could load them up onto YouTube and show some people. I might be able to do them in like a in shorts or whatever, in a shorts part of it. But man, we had a lot of fun back then. Are you talking about Mikey Mitchell? His car is gone. He sold his car. He had some other things coming up, and so he was able to get a fair amount out of his car, and he took a 55 hardtop Chevy Bel Air, I think, in half trade, and yeah, and then he sold the Nova, and yep, that's pretty. It was kind of a bummer. We had a lot of fun with that car too. Mike, when it had the small block in it still, he raced the shit out of that car, and he did good. He raced Darren a lot. I don't know that he ever got to outrun Darren, and I could be wrong. Darren's car was pretty good on the street. He put in a lot of work. Darren did for a long time. I was really surprised when Darren decided to sell his car too. I kind of understand why, kind of to a point, but he was doing really good, and his car was competitive. It just wasn't competitive in the racing that some of this racing is going for us. And neither will my car be. I mean, it will if I really want to lean on it hard or whatever. It'll make good power and be fast, but I feel like Darren got out of it in the right time, and I'm going after Darren old car this year, I hope. Oh, cool. But and then yeah, man, it's getting cold in here. I'm gonna fire that heater back up, see if that'll work. I know that's probably annoying, but man, it's cold. It got cold out here fast. Yeah, and then we started doing all the airport stuff. The airport stuff was fun, but race car 1761. What car do you have, or who are you? I don't know YouTube names yet, so it just comes up. So let me know who you are, and I'll tell you if you're high or not. I don't know what the guy's done with Darren's old car, but you've never seen my heater? That's my heater, dude. Oh. What it is, it's a kerosene heater, but I run diesel in it, so I'm kind of high, if you know what I'm saying. My old lady's still sitting out in the truck, I think. Yeah, Jeff, good luck on outrunning Darren's car. That thing's fast. I now have a Blankenhorn motor. Oh, cool. Oh, you have that little blower motor that was in that. Was it in that white car? Well, send me the link, bud. It's right now. It's only like mid 30s probably right now, but it's wet, so it's cold. It feels like snow. Same but different. Oh, copy. Yeah, we were supposed to do some street stuff tonight. but I decided to reschedule it because it is cold, which the cold wasn't that big of a deal, but it kind of got wet last night, and the roads were still somewhat wet around here today, and then it's raining again now. So, I mean, we might have been able to sneak it by, but I had some people coming from Washington and California and all that stuff to Mexico, so I didn't want to chance it. Almost everybody that actually was entered in the race or locked into the race was coming from out of town, so yeah, I was just talking about that. The grid system is great. I'm actually wiring one in a car right now, into this car. This will be grid, has an arc control panel, the O2 sensors, all that stuff. This would be a nitrous car, obviously. But if you haven't already bought the if you haven't already bought the stuff, is what I was trying to explain. If you wanted any, you have a little bit of data with the grid or whatever. You can see RPM and you can see what the grid's doing, and you can also get like the ARC module and all that stuff. But as far as like, if you're gonna do a data logger, you end up paying for a race pack, data logger, doing all that stuff. All that stuff adds up. I really want to put it on paper and see what the difference in like the base model of the Link is, because it might be something like my Link box is my data logger, it's my traction control, copy, but it's my data logger, my traction control, everything. So it's kind of, and it's also fuel injected and all that stuff. But yeah, if you've already bought it, it's good stuff. Like if you're carbureted or running nitrous or anything like that, the grid stuff, I think the Welty, Kurt and Josh Welty, they switched over to a grid last year or maybe even the year before, and they both were like, I couldn't believe how much better the car freaking idled switching over to the grid. It just made that much more juice giving it the beans, you know what I mean? I was really hoping my wife would bring me some beer, but I guess she don't want to bug me. Hold on a minute. Did you get beer? Huh? Are you lying to me? Bring me one. What are you doing? Bring me one. Sorry guys. Monster beer equals domestic. Welty is doing it. Yeah, the Welties are good people. I really like, sorry guys, my wife is literally fucking hoarding all the beer out there. It kind of pisses me off slightly. She's sitting in the truck. She's been sitting there since basically I've been on this live feed. I roll the garage door open, say, what are you doing? Do you have any beer? And she tells me no. And I knew she was lying, so I walked over there, and she has a 6-pack, which isn't enough anyway, but she has a 6-pack sitting there right next to her. That was Tom Gray that just texted me and said that I sent him some pictures of that panel I built and stuff for his car. He said, looks like I'm making progress. I might be like that guy that they're looking for here in a minute. Sounds like he beat his old lady into pretty bad. That's pretty bummer deal. How long have we been? 45 minutes. Holy smokes, guys. Only problem is not all you guys been on here for 45 minutes, so it's hard to click off of here, but not good. Now she'll share. I'll knock her upside the noodle. Well, here pretty soon, bud. Those, I don't know what you guys are doing watching them live. Chris Lowenstein will literally, and I'm gonna put him on Front Street. He will, what do you call it? Tell me what he does. He like videos, screen videos while he's working or whatever. Yeah, it's weird, crazy stuff. Trying to see a nipple slip or anything like that. I mean, I can show you a nice looking nipple if you guys want me to. Shit can get weird around here, especially if I start drinking. I got whiskey in the house too, but I've been trying to save. Greg poured me a whiskey last weekend, and I thought, damn, that thing tastes pretty good. But my dad, oh, you guys are making good time. What are you guys doing out there, frickin' Salt Lake City, or wherever you guys are at? The Bernies, Lincoln, where you at? Why are you guys out there? Are you guys frickin' getting flimsy or what? Wonder if I can get somebody on here. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Let's see here. Remove. I can put you on timeout, dude. Went to the temple. We got sent to Texas to get a car. Well, if you guys went all the way to Texas without a car, I'm disappointed. If I was driving all the way to Texas, I'd have this Chevelle with me. Because everything's bigger in Texas, you know what I'm saying? You're naked. That ain't good, dude. That's something that I don't really feel like picturing. Anyways, last weekend Greg made me a hell of a whiskey. But speaking of that, hold up. Let me see here. That was our last weekend's project. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I got the coils mounted. I didn't really know where else. I was gonna mount them off the side of the block, like down where the motor plate or the motor mount, factory motor mounts are. They make a kit to actually mount it there, and I was just gonna build something off these. I've had these ICT billet or ICT, whatever the hell that company's called, mounts for a while, and I was just gonna mount them off of that. Decided to do this way, little less wire. They kind of, I don't know that it matters, but my little brain, it turned out okay. I cannot believe I'm drinking Monster and my wife's out there drinking beer. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I feel like it's turned out good. I'm not running out of gas. I'm running out of money. So I'm getting to a point where I'm gonna try to get Tom's car done. What do you believe, Greg? Greg's out, dude. If you want a good friend, like a great friend, but a friend that always just like will make you feel like a piece of shit, be friends with Greg. Greg's a great friend, but he will make you feel. That's because gas is expensive. Yeah, true. He'll make you feel like this big sometimes. First dick. Oh yeah. See, I was talking shit about you, and you were just talking about my wife. That's all. Which is also something that you're always talking about. It's kind of worries me sometimes, but I know my kids don't look like you, so that's a plus. We've been on here 50 minutes. I don't know that it matters, but I'll probably click off at an hour. But yeah, I know the coils, all that stuff are done. The biggest deal is I'm trying to figure out, I'm waiting from Jason from Link. I'm trying to decide what crank trigger wheel I'm going to run. I'm going to run their Hall sensor for the actual crank pickup sensor. But I'm trying to decide on what crank trigger wheel I'm going to run. This thing, the processing speed is really fast, so it'll actually pick up if there's 300, if the balancer will go 360 degrees, so it'll actually pick up 358 teeth per 360 degrees. So it will literally pick up every degree of timing through that whole wheel. If you have one that big, and they do, like they have that many teeth ones, but I just don't know if it's necessary. But you also don't want to just run like a 4 magnet, like a flying magnet style one that you would run in like a carbureted application where you have a distributor or anything like that you're using as your magnetic pickup for firing each cylinder. Because if you're tripping along there at 7,500 RPM and you shift and it misses, or just for an example, and it misses one of them teeth, and it has to go 15 degrees or whatever between each magnet, it could throw some weird shit there and it could misfire and backfire. You can end up burning it up. So it's pretty important, and I'm talking out my ass here, but I think Holley's will pick up. It's a 36 minus 1. So every 360 degrees, it'll process 36 teeth. So Link's pretty good with the processing speed. Oh, let me see what that. I know I'm not as big as most of you guys, but I'm going to be happy with my 370 AI close horsepower. Hey, that's good power. 800 horsepower is big. I mean, this car before only made 950 at the tires or whatever. So I mean, that's good power, man. When are you gonna have that in your car, Jeff? I wish I had more comments. I wish people, what do you guys want to talk about? I got about 8 minutes left. I'm going to stay on here, and then I'm going to click off. Like I said, these cool. Well, let me know if you need anything as far as the wiring stuff, or if you guys have any questions or anything like that. Let me know. I can help you out if I need to. So now, like I said, I got off track. I'm like a kid with my attention span, but once I get the coil wired and I figure out the crank trigger, I already have the cam sync and all that stuff. You see only YouTube comments, or are you live on Facebook too? No, I'm only on YouTube. It will let me go live on both of them, but it's a headache, and I just kind of wanted to keep it on here. But anyways, so once I figure out the crank trigger deal, what wheel I'm going to use, which I'll probably either, we have a 36 minus 1, Seth has an extra one, so I might rob that from him and put the 36 minus 1 on it, which would be fine. But if Link can come up with that other one, the 358 minus 2 or whatever it is, I don't remember exactly what it is, it's way above my pay grade, but then I'll run it. Then I can make it to where the car is ready to start. Literally, it's I got to finish wiring the coils, so I'm making a sub harness right now off of my coils from the ECU. So I'll make the sub harness for both coils, and then I need to do until I know where my fuel tank is going to be, where I'm going to mount my bypass regulator for my fuel system off of the tank. And so as soon as I know, yep, no problem, man, have a good night. Yes, I plan on coming to California with this car once it's done to race and hang out with some people down there. Like I said, to close, Tim and Trevor closed and all those guys down south, and Kelly and all those guys. I plan on coming down with this car, whenever I can afford it. But so once I know where that's going to be, well, or once it's done, then I can finish wiring. All the wires are just kind of ran wild there. What's up, man? Not much, just lying on the internet. But once all that's done, then I can terminate all those wires for the fuel pressure regulator and then the dome pressure. So then that's one other thing. So when I take it up to the next time, we'll try to get the fuel tank built. I need to mount the wastegates wherever we're going to mount the wastegates, plumb the exhaust out, throttle pedal, which now that where I mounted my coils, I'm going to have to run a cable, which sucks, but they make some really nice cables. I'm going to try to use, they're like almost like a shifter cable. I'm going to try to make that work. I actually have a really nice one. So I'm going to try to make that work, and then the transmission cooler in the back are the last of the fabricating stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to haul it up there after I get the front end mounted and the doors hung on it. So it's basically a roller again with all the sheet metal on it. I'll haul it up to Greg's. We'll do all that stuff, or he will help me do it all. I can't weld to save my ass. And he's a badass welder, so why not use and abuse him, let him weld all that stuff up, and then it's plumb the fuel system, plumb the water lines, plumb the blowdown tubes, or the evacs. And then, yeah, Greg's an animal, man. He's pretty good at what he does, for sure. I mean, not as good as I am. I'm pretty good, but he's okay. He can just weld better than me. I'm better at everything else than Greg, but he's a pretty good welder. I know, that's the problem. Is a lot of my car, I'm going to put it right now on Facebook, a lot of my car being done relies on my boy, Greg. If Greg can make it happen, then listen, we'll be making some noise here in the next, I would probably say the middle of the month. Yeah, he did a good job machining my intake. Like I said, that was pretty crazy. I mean, I knew he knew how to do some of that stuff, but he was pretty much a brain on all that when we were doing my intake. I mean, I would have been out there with a tape measure and dropping the dot here and there with a drill, fucking drilling this and that, and it would have, fuel rail would have been crooked. I would have ended up just welding the injectors in the intake. So if it wasn't for Greg, I wouldn't have been able to have this nice of an intake or nice of a car. Like I said, he helped me build this car. He kind of got thrown under the bus. Kelly, I blew this car apart and I was cutting it apart, and I was going to plan on just buying a cage originally, and I was going to just put a new cage in it, move the motor back myself, just do everything I could. And then Kelly's like, well, why doesn't Greg help you? It's like, man, and I'll lay out some of my laundry, but I just can't afford it. You know what I mean? I really can't. I mean, you look at this car and it's a nice piece now, and I wouldn't have been able to afford this thing. Yep, have a good night. I couldn't have been able to afford to have this car like this if it wasn't for Greg. So, Greg's an animal, but yeah, then Greg decided to help me, or I made him help me, one of the two. But anywho, we're an hour and 1 minute in. I know a couple people are clicking off here, so I'm gonna go and click off here as well. Hope you guys enjoy, and if you're still on here and you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next video. I'm working on some stuff here, and as far as the progress video goes, I probably won't do another progress video until I start putting the front end and all that stuff, and the car will take shape. I have so much stuff going on with this car. I'd like to have this car basically done in the next week. That's kind of a tall order with some of the other stuff I have going on as far as work and basketball and all that stuff with the kids, but I'm going to try like hell to get that car down here in the next week or so. And then, yeah, so that's what we got cooking. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this little live feed. It's fun doing these, like I said. But anyways, you guys have a good night, and we will check you guys later.